And now it's time for the Impact Wrestling Report. Here's your host, Mathew Shaffer.
This is the Impact Wrestling Report. I'm your host, Mathew Shaffer. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Matthew_Shaffer. Of course, if you like this content and you want to receive more wrestling news, reviews, and rumors, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. You'll be notified when you get more NXT news with Michael Jargo, WWE news with Big Ray Hernandez and Rick Vickery. Of course, home for the famous Bill Apter. My name, of course, again, is Mathew Shaffer, and you're tuning in to the Impact Wrestling Report. And now we're going to get you all caught up on this week's edition of Impact Wrestling Night 2, Taping 2 from Mexico City, Mexico. And Impact does not delay as they start off the night with the Knockouts Championship. Tessa Blanchard taking on the Reina del Reinas champion, Fabi Apache. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and hit some of the quick highlights. I'm not going to do a full match breakdown like I usually do, but just some notes and things I wrote down here. The match itself was very evenly matched. Both women going back and forth with powerful moves. Both women are very powerful in general as far as their movesets and their overall appearance. Conclusion of the match, or toward the end though, we saw Tessa Blanchard hit a code breaker from the top rope. Fabi kicked out. Some great acting and reaction here out of Tessa as she was beside herself that she didn't get the pin. However, Fabi does get back up to her feet and she goes for a clothesline. Tessa grabs her arm, reverses it into the buzzsaw DDT, and she gets the pinfall 1, 2, 3. So your winner of this match was Tessa Blanchard. Decent match. It was kind of cool for me just to see a new knockout, a female wrestler for Tessa to take on. I wouldn't say the knockouts division is stale, but Tessa itself can only feud with so many wrestlers currently. Ali, Su Yung, and now of course we're about to get into here her next opponent. Tessa basically she cuts a promo after the match, saying that she's run through the entire division, and now Mexico. She's basically she's defeated Mexico in 2 days, or the 2 nights that they've been there at Impact. And this, of course, makes her the best in professional wrestling. I'm not going to argue there. She, however, is interrupted by Taya Valkyrie. Taya Valkyrie, of course, being active on the lucha and Hispanic wrestling scene, and of course working for Lucha Underground. She cut a promo in Spanish, but then she switched to English and she challenged Tessa Blanchard for the Knockouts Championship at Bound for Glory. Kind of interesting if you think about it. Johnny Impact and Taya Valkyrie both are getting championship opportunities at Impact's next event. One could argue that they are really the it couple right now in professional wrestling. We're backstage and we have Alicia with Eddie Edwards. Alicia is backstage. Eddie Edwards comes in. He's kind of got his kendo stick, who's now calling Kenny. That's the name for his kendo stick. So, I don't know. Oh my God, they killed Kenny, you bastards. That's what I was trying to think. Anyway, so she's not happy how Eddie tried to take on everyone last week. Johnny Impact comes in and says they'll be together tonight and they need to watch out for Austin Aries. So going into this, this doesn't happen, but going into this, after this promo, I was like, Johnny Impact's turning on Eddie Edwards, because every time it seems like someone comes to Eddie Edwards' aid lately, they've been turning their back on him. Then we go to the OVE Crazy Cam. They basically said that Bound for Glory is sold out because of them. That's this being Ohio versus everyone, both the Chris brothers and Callahan. Callahan tells Chris that he's giving them a chance for the spotlight. Tonight, that's going to be Jake Chris, who's going to go one-on-one with Brian Cage. Jake is not very happy, and basically Dave is laughing. So, obviously foreshadowing the fact that Jake is taking on a much larger athlete in the case of Brian Cage. We then have Eli Drake out. He cuts a promo about Mexico City. Next week, says he's got another open challenge for all the luchadors. We then go to the next match, and that is Jake Christ versus Brian Cage. Out at ringside, of course, is Ohio versus everyone. Match was power from Cage early on. However, Dave did try to fight back by jumping on the apron. some off the rope or top rope moves. However, Cage powered through, knocked him down, and took him to the mat. At one point in the match, though, Sammy pulled Jake from the corner turnbuckle area as Brian Cage went for a shoulder block. So he pulled him outside. Then outside, Sammy DDT'd Brian Cage. Then outside, Sammy Cage was... I'm losing my train of thought here. What did I write here? Outside of the ring. Oh, sorry. From that, as Jake went outside, I wrote down here. Then Brian Cage eventually got outside of the ring, and then Sami Callihan DDT'd him on the floor. Cage eventually fought back in the ring against Jake with a 619. He had a series of kicks. Eventually, though, Jake actually did get Cage down, and he got a 2 count. He then hit a top rope cutter, but he only got a 1 count. This angered Brian Cage. So Brian Cage went out on the offensive, hit him with a drill claw, and picked up the victory. 1-2-3. Brian Cage defeats Jake Crist. Before getting the aftermatch, a good showing, of course, from Brian Cage, still undefeated, looking better and better each and every week. I think it's if you want to go back to the history here of his career in wrestling itself, it's quite fascinating that he was at one point in time under FCW NXT with WWE. With his look, it's definitely, I guess, shocking to see a guy like Brian Cage, be let go, especially when they've got a lot of guys who might be on the muscular size people might deem smaller right now with WWE. There is a lot of guys who aren't necessarily the most athletically built, or have, as far as their upper body area, upper body torsos area. After the match, though, OVE attacks Brian Cage. Then the lights go out. When they come back on, Dave is actually missing. The only thing that's left is his hat. So it's like comes back, both members in the ring, and Dave's missing. The video plays, and then the Lucha Brothers actually have him tied up, and they're beating him with kendo sticks. Now after this, Jake and Sammy get a double clothesline from Brian Cage, and they get knocked out of the ring. And then they got a top con gyro. Dude, it was weird like that. It was really good editing, actually, if you want to think about it in real time. Dave goes immediately missing, and they come back, and boom, he's getting beat up by a kendo stick on a video package. So I thought that was a pretty good editing and good segue, a utilization of both in-ring and video promo packages for the conclusion of this match. We then go to an interview segment. Mackenzie Mitchell interviews Austin Aries and his crew, Killer Kross and Moose. Aries mocks Takano for losing last week, claiming, he takes care of business. He then talks up his boys taking care of business tonight. Moose then tells Eddie to bring his kendo stick. Killer Kross tells Johnny Impact that everything he touches, he corrupts. And he's not going to let that happen because they have very big plans for this place. Tonight, he's going to make him Johnny Neck Brace. We then got our global wrestling match of the week. It was LAX, the OG LAX, versus AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. I guess, is it the OGs? Yeah. We then go to Grotto and Joe Hendry, who are backstage. Katrina then comes into the screen and tries to tell Grotto she's missed him. Then they give her they sing off a couple of the songs of Access Denied. She says that she's got a gift for them. A big dude in a clown mask. Murder Clown. Joe has to face Murder Clown next week. I guess that maybe that's a independent or a Hispanic wrestler I'm not familiar with, but Murder Clown is a wrestler that Joe Hendry will be taking on next week on Impact. Then we get Roland Martinez. I think that was his name. He interviews Scarlett Bordeaux outside. She talks up getting her own show the first night, guiding Fallah Bahh to almost winning the championship. And then tonight she's issuing a global talent search to put her, backing behind, to put her energies in. Next match of the evening, we get Desi Hit Squad versus LAX. Agama Singh introduces his team, so he's back out with the ring with them. Conan actually comes out, and he's out there. I think my cat's meowing in the background. If you hear a meow there, sorry about that. Apparently, this is not a tag team title match, which is fine because the Desi Hit Squad really hasn't won a lot of matches. They've been going kind of back and forth, so they haven't really earned their tag team opportunity. Match starts off. Desi Hit Squad does a really good job of isolating Ortiz in the corner turnbuckle, moving in and out of the ring, going back and forth with tag team moves. Eventually, though, Santana finally does make the hot tag in. He hits some chops to Gersinder. He delivers a suicide dive to Raju. Both members of LAX are in the ring, and they start double teaming Singh until Raju rolls them into each other to break the count. So he rolls back and then he breaks the count. Desi Hit Squad start double teaming Santana. They hit a sweeping lung blower combo that gets them a near fall. After another attempted pin, Ortiz has to push Ortiz has to push the referee into the pinfall to break it up. Ortiz has to push one of the Desi Hit Squad guys into the pinfall to break it up. In the end, though, LAX hits the street sweep for the win, and LAX defeats the Desi Hit Squad. Now, after the match, we get a video package where we see the OGs pop up on the Tron with, King talking garbage. He talks about what's going on to Conan, or what's going to happen to Conan at Bound for Glory. He produces like an old wrestling advert, or an old wrestling flyer from Mexico City that shows a very young Conan. He says that this is what he was. This is when he was big, but he's not big anymore. He talks about the mask Conan lost, and that says he started leeching off people. Eddie, Rey Mysterio, and then he's still doing it. Then he lights Conan's mask, a replica mask, if you will, on fire. Really, really cool segment, and a nice throwback to Conan's career. For those unaware, Conan did start in a mask itself, and eventually was the mask. So that was a nice throwback itself. We then go see Fallah Bahh, who's reading a story to KM, who's in the hospital, or who's asleep with a neck brace, if you will. He sings him a lullaby, of course, only using the words Fallah and Bahh, which is pretty funny. KM wakes up, thanks him for looking after him. He tells him that he needs to get revenge for what was done to them. We get a backstage promo from Tessa then. She says when she showed up on Impact, Taya disappeared. She accepts the title change. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick intermission break here for just a hot second, as my cat won't stop meowing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. As I said, after the Fallah Bahh lullaby, we saw a backstage promo from Tessa Blanchard. She basically says that when she showed up to Impact, Taya Valkyrie actually disappeared, so she's not afraid of Taya Valkyrie, and that she accepts the challenge. We then get a Knockouts tag team match with Kiera Hogan and Ali taking on Su Yung and the Undead Bridesmaid. We've actually seen this match before. If you want to go back and check out a previous Impact Wrestling report, I've actually reviewed this match. However, no other bridesmaids actually came out with Su Yung and the Undead Brides, or the Undead Maid of Honor this time, so that was a difference. Early on in the match, Ali and Kiera Hogan had the advantage. However, Ali found herself in trouble. She tried to make a tag, but the Undead Maid of Honor pulled Kiera off the apron. Ali then turned into a palm strike from Su Yung, and Su Yung got a 2 count. Su Yung then goes for the panic switch, but Ali fought out of it. She hit a double boot, a double clothesline, and then both women were down. Su then gets up and tries to knock Kiera off the apron prior to Ali making the tag. Hogan blocked Su Yung and delivered a strike and then tagged in finally. Kiera then, now getting the hot tag, she was on fire, hit a high offensive amount of moves. She went for a big DDT, but the Undead Maid of Honor, Uma, what do I call it, knocked her down. Ali got back in the ring. Both her and Kiera Hogan dealt head kicks to the Maid of Honor. Su Yung then was able to lock in the mandible claw on Ali, but Ali super kicked her. Kiera then hit a swinging neck breaker into a pin on Su Yung and got the pin count. 1, 2, 3. Your winner again, Kiera Hogan and Ali. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to our main event of the evening. Eddie Edwards and Johnny Impact taking on Killer Kross and Moose. Now, both Eddie Edwards and Killer Kross start off the match. Johnny Impact tags himself in immediately, and he tries to take down Kross. Unfortunately, he is unable to, as Moose comes in, so Johnny hits a dropkick on him. Eddie then tags himself in, And then Moose tries to rush back to the corner to tag Kross, but Johnny gets in and drops Kross with a European uppercut. Kross then fights back with a series of suplex and drags Johnny to the corner where he tags Moose in, and then we go to our commercial break. We come back to see Moose in control until Johnny counterattacks a back suplex and tags in Eddie, who chops Kross repeatedly before Kross drops him with ease. Moose comes in once Eddie is down and beats on him in a mount before Eddie comes back with the knife edge chops. Moose does stifle his momentum though with a drop kick. Kross then swings Eddie around before kicking him and then throwing him in a half Boston Crab. Eddie, already near the ropes, was able to get a rope break. Eddie comes back with a suplex and tags Johnny in, who then beats on Kross in the corner with some forearms before hitting a leg lariat and then a shining wizard for a near fall. Eddie hits a enziguri from the apron before Johnny hits a sliding German suplex, and Kross catches him up with a clothesline. Eddie and Moose then come in, and Eddie catches Moose up top before Eddie hits a top rope hurricane for a near fall that Kross breaks up. Johnny then hit a spinning neck breaker to Kross on the outside. Eddie rocked Moose with a super kick before Johnny hit a springboard roundhouse kick, and Eddie finished with a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Everyone then hits a move before Johnny stops Aries from using the belt, only for Kross to hit a Saito suplex that sends Johnny out of the ring. Eddie then hits Kross with a kendo stick when the referee is getting rid of the belt before Moose spears him for the pin and the win. Winner of the match, Moose and Killer Kross defeat Eddie Edwards and Johnny Impact. For that specific match, I used Fightful.com as I could not find my notes for that. So thank you, Ryan Cook from Fightful.com, for those in-depth results. But yes, basically a great tag match, back and forth. I saw some online comments about them not appreciating the fact that Killer Kross continues to run, or I guess move, or hide from Eddie Edwards with the stick. And I retorted by saying that, the heels tend to try and, gain victory any way possible, in the most vile way, underhanded tactics. So it makes sense for him to run away and not try to, step up to the challenge. And also, if you've got a kendo stick, you're running away from someone who's crazy and's got a weapon. So Killer Kross is there to win the war. And of course, in this case, they still won the match. So his purpose is served. And, if you haven't checked out Killer Kross's production stuff on his personal websites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, definitely check out Killer Kross is on another level right now. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for me today. That is the Impact Wrestling Report. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties and edits I had to throw in there. But if you'd like more content here from One Wrestling, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. As well as you can check me out on Instagram, on Twitter at Matthew_Shaffer. Follow me on Twitter if you want more wrestling conversation at the Hami Media Group, as I help moderate that. Of course, you can check out Big Ray Hernandez at hackerhami.podbean.com, along with Michael Jargo and Rick Vickery. This has been the Impact Wrestling Report. I'm Matthew Shaffer. Don't you dare go too far. We'll see you next week on the IWR.